Welcome to ComSpark. We are live here in Cambridge, Massachusetts at MIT, attending the Chief Data Officer Quality Symposium, where the world leaders in data have gathered. My name is Matthew Duramo. I'll be your guest host today. Joining me is Althea Davis, former Chief Data Officer, Challengers and Growth Markets from ING Bank.
Yes.
How are you today?
I'm fine, thank you. Thank you for having me on.
Absolutely, appreciate you taking the time. So we've got a handful of questions.
Sure.
I'd say let's just dive right in.
Great.
Sound good?
Yeah.
All right, perfect.
Let's go for it.
So as a Chief Data Officer, what does success look like in your eyes?
Success, when I'm helping a firm trying to realize their business strategy and actually exceeding their expectations on what the data contribution is to achieving those goals. So that in itself is a wonderful thing. So in one sense, it's having those light bulb moments where, the executive board, but also the people, your subordinates in your team, people really are excited about data. So that's a good thing just for the sake of data and to get the most out of it. But I think really the overall big payoff and the big benefit is when data is firmly recognized as a key contribution to the value creation of a company, or that the company becomes 10 times more valuable because they know what they're doing with their data.
Yep.
So that to me is absolute success.
Perfect. Well, you make it sound so simple, right?
It is.
So what are some of those challenges then to make that happen?
Okay, well, most people will think, it's the technology. It's not. We have so much technology. I mean, there's more technology than most companies. I mean, if you look at most companies' landscape, IT landscape, there's much more functionality and IT capability than they even use.
Absolutely.
Okay, so it's not the technology problem. The problem is in one sense, just awareness of the risk around data, but also the opportunity. And I think the cost part is starting to become a little bit more clear, but it's much more about the value potential of the data. And I think there's a huge deficit of understanding, literacy. I don't mean just the people who are working on the data and the pipelines. I'm also talking about the executive boards, the people who are making the decisions. So I think we all need to step up, especially the chief data officers. I think we need to raise the bar on our own profession and realize that we're the new kids on the block. We need to borrow from some of these other more mature disciplines and be seen for the value creators that we really are.
Sure. So it sounds like everything I'm hearing is culture.
Culture.
Adaptation.
Yeah.
Right. Because I think
literacy, culture,
yeah.
mindset. So I call it the minds, heart, and hands. So if I don't have your mind, first thing is you have to believe, so it's your heart.
Yep.
And then you understand it. That's the mind. And then people start acting, and that's the hands. So to me, it's very much a cultural change, change of expectations, change of thought and behavior. And they kind of follow in that direction.
Sure.
So that's the biggest single challenge.
Okay.
And like I said about the knowledge is the data literacy in general, to be competent and see it as a discipline instead of seeing as, it's just that person's responsibility or some hero data analyst that's doing something.
Right.
So that's definitely on the cultural side. And then I would say technology-wise, I wouldn't say that the technology is not available. There's too much. So that's actually a luxury problem.
Sure.
So because of that, I do think there's a book right now out from a guy called David McCobb called Software Wasteland. And I think he's hit it on the mark. There's actually too much technology. So people are getting confused about what we can do. And there's a misunderstanding. I think one of the other challenges is a misunderstanding about the value and the role of the different assets of a corporation. So what's the value and the role of data and information assets versus IT assets? Yeah,
understood.
That confusion is a big one.
Absolutely.
And that's creating a lot of tension in organizations.
Well, with problems aside and success in the future, where do you see what's your vision of a data world kind of moving forward?
My vision is that this concept of data democracy, data flowing in a more fluid manner across governments, between corporations. I'm not talking about people's highly private data. I just mean that data is more accessible even to us as the consumer, that we have more access to things. And I think that in itself is a good thing. I mean, if you think about something like climate management or environmental management, we all sit here and think about, well, the weather just kind of happens. Well, no, we're interacting with weather. We have a long-term relationship with the climate and weather. So I just feel that data has a great role in empowering people through your head knowledge and being able to make good decisions about things and take the right actions.
So I'm curious what your opinion is. Do you think that data will be more readily accessible, or do you think data governance and industry mandates are going to make that more difficult to take advantage of?
Both.
Okay.
So you have the open data movement, which is very, very fluid, very present all over the world. People are building open data cubes for, like I said, climate or other things, just public information. I think that's a good thing. Because we all can benefit from that. Yeah. We need to modernize and change our societies in a good way to make it more sustainable. That's one movement. But on the other hand, you have the other side of the pendulum. You know where I'm going to right now. Well, you don't want certain people to know stuff about you. I mean, I must admit, I already, with Facebook and that kind of thing. Yeah. I mean, not to knock one particular social media, you have to be careful about your footprint, your own footprint. And you don't even have control over it. And you might not even know you're adding to that footprint and that other people are getting access to it. I do think we need to be more vigilant in, like I said, maturing the discipline, also from a legal, ethical compliance side. But we need to also, allow for innovation, access, transparency. So we have to manage it. There's no one size fits all. So I do think it's all going to happen. It's all going to come up at the same time, and we're going to have to deal with a lot. So I'm not going to go into the political thing. We're not going there today.
We'll stop it right there.
Thank you.
No, I really appreciate the time and the insights that you provided here today. Thank you so much.
Thank you for having me. Definitely.
For more information on today's interview, please visit ComSpark.tech.